with the United States, President Joe Biden unveiled. Time now for a look at some of the day's business news. Brian Quinn joining me on this set. Morning to you, Brian.
Hey, Will.
Brian, beginning with the United States, President Joe Biden unveiling the first federal budget proposal of his administration.
And what a budget it is, Will. A big one, $6 trillion for fiscal year 2022. That's the highest level of sustained federal spending since World War II. Along with that big spending would come big deficits. $1.8 trillion for the year. That would add to the U.S.'s current debt pile of $28 trillion. By 2024, debt as a share of the American economy would be at its highest level ever. Well, those deficits would come despite more than $3 trillion in planned tax increases over the coming decade on corporate profits, capital gains, and the incomes of top earners. Biden's budget proposal takes into account his massive infrastructure and jobs plan, currently tagged at $2.3 trillion, along with his $1.8 trillion plan to significantly expand America's social safety net. Recent rises in U.S. consumer prices, coupled with an ongoing labor shortage, have led many Republicans to argue that the U.S. is spending too much already at the risk of overheating the economy. Biden pushed back on that as he visited a manufacturing college in Ohio Thursday. Take a listen.
You can't reboot a global economy like flipping on a light switch. There's going to be ups and downs in jobs and economic reports. There's going to be supply chain issues, price distortions on the way back to a stable and steady growth. In the coming weeks, my administration will take steps to combat these supply pressures, starting with the construction materials and transportation bottlenecks and building off the work we're doing on computer chips.
Now, here in France, the economy appears to be picking up speed again as the country reopens after the most recent coronavirus lockdown.
You can see it out on the streets of Paris, where people rushing back to shops, cinemas, restaurants, and bar terraces. Personal consumption rising sharply, along with the spirits and hopes of entrepreneurs and manufacturers. That is especially good news, as the latest data shows French household consumption contracted by 8.3% in April amid the lockdown. Emerald Maxwell and our colleagues at France Télévisions report.
With lockdown lifted, shopping is back, and many businesses are working around the clock to satisfy the increased demand. France's economic engine is turning again. Orders began picking up a month ago for this plastic manufacturer.
This is the book of Second Thessalonians. This is the book of First Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. Verse 2, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Verse 3, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction come upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And the point is, how they talking about because of the fact that these lockdowns being lifted, that literally they hoping that the economies will pick back up. People putting trust and faith again in this place that literally just showed you, and when it happens suddenly again, because like I said, supply chains are already broken. It's going to take years. They said that it's going to take years to actually repair that. So, this place is doomed, and that's the Most High lulling people back to sleep because you seeing places open back up. You forgot that they just actually social engineer society where now they introduced this jab and stab. So now those that don't participate in that, that's why Biden made the statement that he made. Those that don't take the vaccine are going to pay the price.
We definitely have more work since lockdown finished. For example, museums have reopened, so we have quite a lot of orders from them.
The company boss says orders are back to pre-pandemic levels.
Lately, we can see that everything is picking up again. All the investments that should have been made last year were put off. So now companies are catching back up and putting in orders.
With confidence back, the company has hired 2 more workers and ordered a brand new machine.
We bought this machine so that we could accept more orders.
Businesses are more upbeat than they've been since July last year. France is on track to hit 5 or 6% growth in 2021, driven by consumer spending. This toy shop has been doing roaring trade since reopening last week. Business is up 35% compared to last year.
It's great to be able to go shopping again as a family. It's more fun for my son too than just ordering off the internet.
To help shops continue their recovery after weeks of closure, the government says it will push back the summer sales, allowing retailers to clear their stock without discounts.
And it's the last day of the trading week. Brian, how are markets looking?
Well, European index is slightly higher at the open as investors take encouragement from falling unemployment figures in the U.S. amid an ongoing global recovery. Well, that new French data that we mentioned, though, also shows that the overall economy did contract by 0.1% in the first quarter of 2021. That's not enough to keep the CAC 40 here in Paris from gaining a bit of ground at the open. The DAX in Frankfurt right there along with it, with London's FTSE 100 slightly behind. Asian indexes mostly gaining ground as well. The Nikkei in Tokyo closing up over 2%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng up slightly there amid the market debut of Chinese e-commerce delivery firm JD Logistics. Shanghai in the red, the Kospi in Seoul up around 0.75% at the close.
And back here in France, business owners may be optimistic, but farmers are fed up with the country's business-as-usual approach to Europe's common agricultural policy.
Well, members of a French farmers' union blocked off the main office of the country's unemployment benefits service Thursday. Their goal, an eventual audience with President Macron to demand that the EU's common agricultural policy in France focus more on jobs and environmental concerns. Well, the cap.
So basically, that was the point. I didn't feel like reading the article, and I gotta get ready for work. But when I heard this, because when you take time to think about this, it took them a year to pass $6 trillion. So he's proposing to pass $6 trillion on one whop. Now I know he has two more, or their administration has two more, basically two more stimuluses or two more, budgets planned. And at the end of the day, the thing is, like I said, if you've seen inflation with the $6 trillion that they literally just